Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhi Vrindavaneshwari Prisavan Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakapataru Yascha Kripasandhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki Hare Krishna. We are reading from the seventh Goswami, the biography of the Divine Grace Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Marriage and studies in Calcutta. Marriage and studies in Calcutta. Upon his reaching the age of 12, his mother arranged a marriage with a 5-year-old girl. How many? 5-year-old girl from Ranagat named Sayamani, the daughter of Sri Yukta Madhusudan Mitra. She hoped to improve the family fortunes by this arrangement. Childhood marriages were not uncommon. At that time in Bengal, such marriages were generally arranged by astrological calculations so that the partners would be compatible and the couple usually came from similar family backgrounds. The psychological reasoning behind these early marriages was that a girl in Vedic culture could feel secure, knowing that her future was arranged and her protection guaranteed. The couple did not generally live together until they reached adulthood. A grand wedding was held, which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura compares to a child's doll marriage. There was a pleasure boat, a wedding palanquin, decorations, light, English music, etc. The marriage took place between a 12-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl and was exactly like a child's doll marriage. Drinking Ganges water and milk. I arrived at the house of my father-in-law with a great festive crowd. The reception was huge. Many gentlemen of the telly, oil caste dressed in bright and varied clothes and wearing jari outfit came to the reception. Even though I was such a tender age, I was able to understand that except for the kayastas, and brahmanas who were dressed nicely. The good clothes and ornament did not look well on the others. Two reciters of genealogies read out the family histories of the Mitra and Datta families, and the marriage was gradually concluded. I said that I was not able to stay alone in the house of my father-in-law. Kedranath's nanny came to stay at his father-in-law's house to care for him, and he was accepted there just like a family member. His material grandfather subsequently died at Bhavanipura, where he had gone after his fortunes had utterly failed. Thereafter, we went to Calcutta by boat to spend some time in nearby Bhavanipura. In those days, Calcutta was a fearful place. Immediately upon arriving, my nose was assailed by a severe foul smell. This stench took away my appetite. After residing in Bhavanipura for a few days, we visited numerous places in Calcutta and Bhavanipura. We saw Kali Ghat where Goddess Kali is worshipped. Being exceedingly disgusted, I was not able to appreciate anything. When we returned to Ula, I was the first to leave. Upon arriving in Ula, Mahesh Dutt, Mahadada, Major Mami, and her brother Raj Babu performed Shraddha, the funeral rite for my grandfather. Kedranath then returned to Ula and tried to manage the shambles of his grandfather's estate. He was not well suited to do it, being young and inexperienced. But by various means, family debt were paid off. However, it seemed that there was never enough money, and his family experienced suffering on this account, being so much accustomed to a comfortable existence. The Thakura recount, everybody thought that my mother had a lot of money and jewelry. Except for a few properties, all her wealth was lost. At the same time, my father went to Morasibad. He took 1,500 rupees from my mother. That money was lost. On another occasion, my father went to extricate one of the sons of Makiriji from some difficulty and loaned 2,500 rupees from my mother's family with the security of jewelry to that end. Most of that money was never repaid. My wedding cost about 2,000 rupees, and my mother paid 1,000 rupees of the expenses. In this way, there were numerous expenses and no money remained in my mother's hand. I was in complete anxiety. My grandfather's house was huge. The guards were few, and I was afraid of thieves at night. I thus gave the guard bamboo rod to carry. In this regard, I was not lax. When Kedranath was 14, his maternal uncle, the famous Bengali poet Kasi Prasad Ghosh, came for a visit. Kasi Prasad was a journalist and the editor of the Hindu Intelligencer, a weekly journal. He was a literary luminary of his time, and his home was a meeting place of many famous figures of the Calcutta literary scene. Many aspiring writers came to him to be trained in effective English composition. He counted among his friends the Englishman Major Richardson, commonly known as Shakespeare Richardson, who was a noted author and journalist, as well as having been the aide-de-camp to Lord William Bentinck, who in his time had wielded tremendous influence and power in the development of British affairs in India. Kasi Prasad tested the English reading and writing of Kedranath, was impressed with his intelligence, and gave him a mirror as a prize. Kedranath's maternal aunt suggested to his mother that he go to Calcutta to pursue his studies. His aunt reasoned with his brother that she would care for him as though he were her own son. And it was thus decided that Kedranath will go to Calcutta for his education. Arriving in Calcutta after the puja season, Kedranath stayed in the house of Kasi Prasad. It was very thick pillars and was situated on the northern side of a pond called Heduya. On the banks of the Heduya were the homes of missionaries, the church of Krishna Bandhu, Queen's College, and the Betun School. It was a beautiful and aristocratic section of Calcutta. Kedranath was enrolled in the Hindu Charitable Institution School. He studied there for 4 years, from 1852 to 1856, constantly reading and studying literature with Ishwara Chandra Nandi, in whom he had great faith. He described that gentleman as truthful, in control of his senses, religious, knowledgeable in the Shastras, and well spoken. The British were interested in creating a generation of Indians whose native ways could be transformed by education. In a famous education brief written in 1835, Thomas Macaulay put forward his argument succinctly, if arrogantly. The sum of what I have said, I think it is clear that we are free to employ our funds as we choose, that we ought to employ them in teaching what is best worth knowing, that English is better worth knowing than Sanskrit or Arabic, that the natives were desirous to be taught English and are not desirous to be taught Sanskrit or Arabic, that neither as the languages of law nor as the languages of religion have the Sanskrit and Arabic any particular claim toward encouragement, that it is possible to make natives of this country thoroughly good English scholars, and that to this end our effort ought to be directed. In one point I fully agree with the gentleman to whose general views I am opposed. I feel within that it is impossible for us with our limited means to attempt to educate the body of people. We must at present do our best to form a class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. To that class, we may leave it to refine the vernacular dialect of the country, to enrich those dialects with terms of science borrowed from our Western nomenclature, and to render them by degrees fit vehicles for conveying knowledge to the great mass of the population. Many Indians began to take advantage of this policy, but it was ultimately to be one of the major factors in the undoing of the British Raj, as the very intellectuals produced by British education were to later establish an independence movement that drove the British from India. During the annual examinations, Kedranath won first prize and obtained a medal. In his first year there, however, during the rainy season, the boy fell sick with blood, dysentery, fever, itching skin, etc. Becoming very weak, he returned with some residents of Ula for a visit to his home. Since his illness was complicated, his mother spoke to a leather worker who said he knew a fakir who could cure him. A fakir named Chandra Rai. Using bakash leaves, he performed an exorcism and gave Kedranath gur leaves to eat. He gave Kedranath a mantra to chant and told his mother to feed him only vegetables and rice cooked with ripe tamarind in particular. He told Kedranath that in a dream something will be revealed. A dream came to Kedranath in which a black snake crawled out of his body. The fakir was satisfied that Kedranath was out of danger. He told him to continue with the mantra and to never eat any demigod prasadam. He should never eat any demigod prasadam. The fakir then took him to his guru, a former cobbler, whose name was Golok. Golok belonged to a branch of the Kartabaj sect. This particular group accepted the moral restrictions of strict Vaishnavism, but their electric beliefs and philosophical conclusions are ultimately impersonal. For they think the formless absolute to be the highest manifestation of transcendence. Nevertheless, the Guru had many supernatural powers and Kedranath was impressed by him. The Guru assured Kedranath that his itching, as well as all the symptoms of his other diseases, would be completely eradicated. In a subsequent dream, calcium powder was prescribed as the treatment for the sores, and in no time the ailment cleared up. Kedranath's body filled out and became healthy again. He continued chanting the mantras given to him and often went to see his guru. One day, the Guru predicted that Kedarnath's boyhood and boyhood home, Ula, will soon be almost entirely destroyed. The people there will die from fever and disease. He also predicted that Kedarnath will become a great Vaishnava. Both predictions will prove to be true. After this impressive recovery, he took his mother and sister to Calcutta and arranged a marriage for his sister. Then, his mother and sister returned to Ula. Kedarnath studied all of the books in Kasi Prasad's library and assisted Kasi Prasad by reading to him all the articles which were submitted for publication in his magazines and newspapers. He also availed himself freely of the public library. He began to contribute articles to the literary gazette and intelligentsia, which were edited by Kasi Prasad, and began the composition of the first two books of the Poriad, an epic poem which he intended to complete in 12 volumes. These books were completed before he turned 18. The two books were completed before he turned 18. He joined various debating clubs and freely exchanged thoughts on spiritual and literary topics with Krishna Das Par, Devendranath Tagore, and his two sons, Dwijendranath Tagore, who Kedarnath came to count as his closest friend, and Satyendranath Tagore, brother of the poet Rabindranath Tagore, as well as many other figures who later became famous in different spaces of influence. About Dwijendranath Tagore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura recalls, the Honorable Dwijendranath Tagore was the older brother of my friend Sri Yukta Satyendranath Tagore, and my older brother as well. If ever among men there was a close friend, then Bharodada, older brother, is that close friend. He was charitable, of good character, pure-hearted and honest, and my heart was enlivened by him. Upon seeing him, all my troubles would go away. In his association, Kedarnath studied the works of many Western philosophers, as well as the controversial views of the Brahma Samaj, led by Rammohun Rai, which were promulgated by the Tagore family. Kedarnath also met regularly with an open-hearted Christian missionary named Reverend Duff, and had frequent discussions with him. I read many books in his association. He also studied the works of Edison and Edward Young in the association of another missionary named Reverend Greaves. So Bhaktivinoda Thakura, he lived a life just like all of us. Do you see? He has a similar life like we have. So one can wonder, he's a pure devotee. He's struggling. You know? So how can he be a pure devotee when he's struggling like us? Went to school. He got sick here. By this. Tantras have put something in what he said. another fakir. Fakir is a Muslim, not a devotee. It's a Muslim. He has to go to a Muslim to cure him. All these similar things. Which
The parents were broke at some point also.
Yeah, they were very wealthy, they lost some money. Everything was going down, up and down. So he faced all this of life. The village also with the pandemic. And so many things, so many similar things which we also say. He got married, not once, twice. Has many children. How many? 12 children. He worked as a magistrate, big position, as in government. So he passed through every single thing which we are passing through, right? So how is it a pure devotee? A pure devotee should have depend from me. Yes. Can you see? No flesh. Fire is coming. Right? It's pure devotee. Anyone who will offend me. Right? A pure devotee. He got sick and went to school and a lot of difficulties. But the situation is not the same. Although he passing through this in the situation is not the same. What is not different? Look at his interest in Krishna consciousness. Look at his interest in Krishna consciousness. He is like a swan. He's a swine. Paramahamsa. He went to school. See, he's a first class. First class. In everything, first class. As a small boy, he's editing and he's writing. And going to other religious organization to debate Krishna consciousness. See what he's doing, a small boy. Which ordinary child would do like this? We have such a faith and understanding about God, and he can detect, this is Mayavadi. This is. See, he went to Christianity, he went to Islam, he became Mayavadi, he went through all this as a Paramahamsa, he was not contaminated. So he is a liberal preacher, unadulterated preacher. He said, why are you surprised? Why are you worried? Somebody watching your Krishna by bowing down. Somebody watching your Krishna by facing direction. Somebody watching your Krishna by joint palms on the knee and praying. Who are they praying to? Who? The same Krishna. In this way or that way, but it's the same person. Why we don't see that the person is praying to God? This person is praying to God. This one is praying to God. Why do we see differently? Why do we see differences? Because we don't have a pure vision. Bhaktivinoda Thakura has pure vision. Will anyone have difficulty with this kind of vision? Appreciating all other faith, will anyone have a difficulty? Will we fight religiously in the name of religion? Will anyone fight? No. If I'm saying you are worshiping God, you are worshiping the same like God, the same Krishna you are worshiping, but in that way, in this way, but it's the same Krishna. And we are appreciating that. Will we fight? No. This is the consciousness of Bhaktivinoda. But who is saying it? He's a liberal preacher, perfect preacher. He never diluted, but he appreciated all Not that he's appreciating all, okay, now you should do Alakubar. So you said here, Holy Mary. That he didn't do like that. He appreciated and put them in their corner and continued with his own Krishna consciousness. Very clear. It's very, very clear in everything that he does. And he wrote so many books. So many books. Even as a householder, he was writing. Not that he started writing, okay, he was conditioned soul, then he became pure devotee. Now he started doing something different. He had been doing, the thing he's doing now, he had been doing it right from the beginning. That is the nature of the pure devotees. And we shouldn't forget that they all come here hiding the identity. They hide identity so that they can cheat non-devotees and bless the devotees. Those who are sincere will know. Those who are crooked will not know. And look at his life. He took a lot of risk to present Krishna consciousness for us, to defend and preserve Krishna consciousness for us. He took a lot of risk. Now we are enjoying Krishna consciousness. He predicted Prabhupada's coming. He predicted Srila Prabhupada's coming. And what Prabhupada would do, he predicted. I'm waiting to see that day when the Western brothers and the Eastern brothers will come together to chant Jai Sachinanda. And that place, from his house, pointing across the river, Jalangi, in his house, this river Jalangi met with Ganga. And he was from here, he's pointing to where ISKCON has temple now. That thing, nothing is there. This place, that place, from his house, pointing house, this place, it will be the center where the Westerners and the Easterners will meet together to chant Mahaprabhu's name. That is Mayapur today. That is where we have ISKCON has temple now. That is the place Bhaktivinoda Thakura predicted years back. And for that, he has to resign from his work. When he was to resign, the British government refused. They refused. Just like Sanathan Goswami was refused. He refused, you cannot resign. What do you want? It's time for me to start my real business now. The pure devotee, they came here and, you see, an experienced teacher will take a baby's hand, right? To hold the hand with the chalk, to write A, B, C, D. Is he learning or he's teaching? No, he's learning how to write A, B, C, D. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakura did. Most of this, what the Acharya they did. They came to hold our hand and then showing it. How did they do that? He got married, got a job, he got sick, had different challenges, all these things. They did. And they remain Krishna conscious to teach us that the process was, and we shouldn't be discouraged with whatever difficult challenges we have. They use their life to teach this, but we don't see it. We say, oh, he's sick like me. Yes, he's sick like you, but the same consciousness. Huh? Is it the same consciousness? Yes, we're sick together, but the same consciousness. Are we thinking the same way? Do we feel the same way? No, we should try to understand the extent of their mercy. They are showing us by their own personal example. They did this, they took a lot of risk. When he was a magistrate, he had to punish many people. So the people whom he punished were happy. Even though they did something wrong and have been punished for they don't think they did, but they would happy. They were angry. Bhaktivinoda Thakura has to come to their house to go and beg them for money to build your pit. the birthplace of Chitan Mahaprabhu. Did you remember him? Yeah? You are the one who dropped my case that day. So you forgot? You're in my house today as a beggar. How will you treat the person? Or do you think that he forgot? He knows. He knows. This person, I punish him. For they don't think he's stealing money, I punish him. And he's very experienced in doing it. He will do it with intelligence. We punish with intelligence. One king, he was in charge of Jagannath at that time when Bhaktivinoda took over the management of the temple. And he looked at an account and saw everything. And he saw that they were not offering burger on time. The quality also, nothing was in good order. And the man also was stealing money. Bhaktivinoda was able to see the amount of money he stole. He didn't arrest him. That is normal thing to arrest the person, start persecuting the person. He didn't do that. He left him there in his position. But we should learn. Let us learn. There are varieties of powers. The least of all of them is physical. The least. The special one is physical. The power is more than physical. Intelligence is more than physical. So Bhaktivinoda Thakura, he didn't remove him. He didn't change him. He didn't arrest him. But he gave him a process of caring for Jagannath that he has to use the whole of that money in doing that service. How will you feel? He put him in a situation that all the money he stole, he has to use all to do that. How will you get the money? The one he stole. He just left him like that. The man was very angry. Well, it's better for him to punish him. He can get himself free, go and give some bribe and go and enjoy the money. But you know, God didn't do that. He gave him estimate the service for Jagannath. He used the whole of that money to do it. He was very, very angry. And he employed the tantrists to come and do Jagya to kill him. The tantrists came. He was doing Jagya every day. He was doing every day. The last day they conclude when he says Swaha, the man's child died. His own child. The man was afraid. Who's next? He was afraid. He had to give chance to Bhaktivinoda Thakura. He did not interfere again. These people are very fortunate. They see something they can. And so, but those of us who are not fortunate will continue to do the same thing, increasing our negative karma. It will swallow us up. But those who are wise, when they get the clear defeat, they will hands up and beg, please excuse me. So this is like Bhaktivinoda Thakura's a glimpse of his life. So there are many, the whole things about his life, everything. So nice. So Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki